Hey guys, I wanted to introduce the latest edition over at Slow and Rusty Customs. This is a 1988 Mazda 323 GTX, one of 1,243 cars that was sold in the US. And I've actually owned this car for over 3 years. And first time I'm shooting a video on it because when I first bought it, and you know, a lot of these cars, it's not about the ownership. A lot of times it's about the story and the discovery. This car checks all those boxes, and it was posted for sale on the Mazda 323 Facebook group that I'm a very active member on, by the sister of the owner, who had unfortunately passed away many years ago. Lived in Dallas, so not very far from where I live here in Houston. And he had passed away, and I guess during the time when he was ill, had parked the car in his backyard under a tree in Dallas next to his Trailblazer SS, which he also parked in his backyard under a tree. And both those vehicles sat for many years, and I guess he had fallen ill and then passed. Anyway, I bought the car out of the estate that was managed by his sister, and the car was brought to me here in Houston. And when I got it just over 3 years ago, it was the summer of 2019, it ran for probably 10 minutes. Enough for me to just run it down to the gas station, fill it up with gas. I brought it home, and then I just parked it for a few weeks as I was working on other cars. Went to start it, and it wouldn't start, and the starter was locked up. So by the time I bought a brand new Denso starter, installed it, and got it all in, it was well into a few months of ownership. I went to fire it up and it wouldn't start, and then just got really busy with other car projects, BMWs and other things, as you guys know, and I just let it sit here in the driveway for 3 years, mostly related to the fact that I couldn't get it started. Even though I had many attempts at troubleshooting it, I replaced the whole harness from the ignition into the main body harness, because that had been spliced into for an electronic boost controller and an alarm, and then also an aftermarket stereo system, typical for what was done in the 80s and 90s on these cars. So I replaced all that, and then messed around with ECUs and distributors and a bunch of other things, trying to get spark. I just couldn't get spark to the motor. It's getting lots of fuel but no spark, and so the years went by quickly, as happens. And fast forward to just a few weeks ago, I decided to clear everything on my plate, put everything on hold, and focus on getting this car running, because I know it will run and fire up. So I was very determined to get it started, and during the course of the last few years, I was able to actually source a complete EFI harness from the computer all the way to the engine, so a full engine harness. Which was good, because when I pulled out the old harness, there was some wires that were melted, and then also sort of some questionable areas on that harness. So installed the new harness. My good friend Blake came over, and he and I spent about 3 to 4 hours on a Sunday with the wiring diagrams, and then noticed that the main engine relay, which is this guy down here that's buried, don't know if you could see it in this video, but it's, let me turn the camera upside down, it's that guy right there, that relay. It had a couple of broken pins on it, broken and looked like burnt up. And so Blake and I thought that, okay, let's start with trying to source a spare one, or take the spare one off my silver car and install it. And then if the car fires up, then we know we found the problem. Well, certainly we switched them out, and then I put in that new spare harness I found. The car fired up like on the second crank. So that was a joy to hear. The car actually run for the first time in over 3 years. After that, of course, I was very motivated to address a bunch of other things after the car was running. So it was good news to hear the car run, and boy, it ran really well. And it's amazing the abuse that these cars will take, and then, you know, and then run well. So after that was all said and done, I decided to change the timing belt, the pulleys, the tensioners. I should say not the pulleys, the tensioners, a water pump, and everything that was related to coolant and the cooling system. I changed all that, replaced every part, new thermostat. I flushed all the cooling system as well, which was quite an effort because the old coolant in this car was really, really bad and very crusty. And so spent a whole weekend flushing the cooling system with distilled water. And now, of course, I'm running the new organic Xerox coolant in the car. No sorbates, no phosphorus on it, so it's the right pink coolant, as you guys may see in here. I'll flip the lid open. There's the new pink coolant. And then I changed all the hoses and everything else. At the same time, there was some other things that needed to be done. I know the engine doesn't look particularly presentable now, but it looked even worse before, trust me. I made a new bracket for the intercooler, as the intercooler was just hanging loose, so made a new bracket for the intercooler. Replaced a bunch of clamps, replaced a bunch of rotten hoses, and then went through a new fuel filter, and so just kind of started going through things, and now everything is running well. The car didn't have headlights either, actually, or headlight bulbs, so I got working headlights now. And this corner lamp here, all the wiring was completely deteriorated, so luckily I had a spare one in my box of parts. And so I'm just kind of going through the car slowly. The next on the list is to bleed the braking system and flush it out with new brake fluid. So I'll do that here probably this weekend, and then just kind of start going through things, other things on the car. I'm probably going to powder coat a bunch of items just to address some of the corrosion that you see. I'll definitely do the valve cover in a new wrinkle red, and just start kind of going through some things. But at least wanted to introduce the car to you guys. I actually got brand new Falcon tires yesterday, and they're right here. And if you guys are Mazda guys like me, you'll recognize these factory wheels. These are the very cool turbo 626 wheels, and of course they fit the 323. And actually in Japan, these wheels were fitted in the facelift GTX models, the BF GTX models. These were actually the OEM wheels. So I found this set on eBay, and I just actually cleaned them up this week and mounted the new tires yesterday. So they will replace these old Bridgestones that are on the car, and also remove these factory 14-inch wheels, which are also pretty nice. But I like those 626 wheels. I think they'll look really cool in the car. But overall, I mean, the car is pretty nice and complete overall. The seats are not too bad, and the interior is not too bad. I shampooed and cleaned the interior. Jeff Sylvester, who is one of my online 323 buddies, he's made one of his short shifters for me, I have it installed on my silver GTX, so I should have his new short shift in a few days, and I'll pop that in, and that'll tighten up the shifts. But this car is a cool one because it does have the factory power windows and power door locks, and of course it has the sunroof, and the car is actually really complete. The paint that you see, yes, it's pretty dull and weathered, but it's the original paint. It does have a bit of hail damage on it, but I'm not too worried about it at this point. We'll just address things over time, but the key for me was to get it mechanically up and running, and then I'm probably just gonna drive it around town and kind of keep it as a fun runner for parts and what have you. So I'll fire it up for you guys and you can hear it, and let's see, so you'll hear it run. So yeah, it fires up very eagerly. I also replaced the fuel sender, as the fuel gauge was not working when I got the car, so now it works, which is nice. I took the sender off a spare one that I had in my parts stash, but I believe the one from the early Miata will work in this car as well. So anyway, here is the GTX, and I'll be posting some few things on it as the time goes by and I have time to work on it. But hope you enjoy the video, and it's good to get back to sort of my roots of where I started on the car hobby. When I think about all the cars I've owned over time, the two cars that I've owned the longest has been my 280ZX, which I still have, my white one. And then also I've had a long standing and running history and ownership with these BF chassis B6T Mazdas. I really have a soft spot for them because they're really great cars. So if you've never driven one, certainly take one for a spin. They're super cool, and really they're rockets. They're fun. A few extra pounds of boost and an upgraded exhaust is all that's really needed to open them up and really enjoy the free revving B6T engine, and how fun it is to run through the gears. So hope you enjoy the video. Hope everybody's doing well, and happy to introduce the new white GTX to the family. And we'll be posting some more updates as I get some more things finished on the car, and we'll take you guys along for the journey. So you guys take care, and hope everybody's doing well. Take care. Bye.